everybody. Welcome back to CBN Unscripted, where college bowling gets seen. I'm your host, Jasmine Mung, and I am so excited about today's episode because we have one of the newest voices in collegiate bowling leadership, Coach Jailyn Rogers. Do they call you Coach Jailyn? Is it, or do they call you by your last name?
Jay, just Coach Jay.
Coach Jay, gotcha. See, that's good to know. So, Coach Jay, she recently stepped into the head bowling coach role at Southern University. So she will be leading the Lady Jaguar women's bowling team. And when I saw the news, I was just super, super excited. And I was like, I have to reach out. I have to get you on here and get you talking because you guys, she is Gen Z. She's Gen Z and she bowled at Southern. She was assistant coach for a year and boom, now she's head coach. So we got to talk about it. We've got to talk about that because for a lot of reasons. One of the biggest reasons is because I really think this can serve as a huge inspiration and motivation for other athletes that are out there that may want to do a similar path or may not even know that this may be a path for them, and hearing your story, right, because super resonate with them. But also this is a message for all the baby boomers, and I don't know all of them, but all of the other right generations out there. It's like, we're trying to build up, right, and keep bowling alive. I always say I feel like it's thriving. Everybody has mixed opinions, but we want it to continue thriving. So let's just kind of dive into it. Thank you for being here and welcome.
Thank you for having me, Jasmine.
Yeah, of course, of course. So Southern University women's bowling team is hopping, is I feel like it's going into this new era. I don't know how everybody else feels about it, but like I said, I really want to hone in on it. So what really kind of excites you most about helping lead this next chapter for the bowling team?
I would say the opportunity to not only continue the Southern tradition and the Southern legacy. Walking into this office, they had all the trophies from previous years, and it's so much history. I'm not talking about just, invitational trophies. I'm talking about swag. A lot of swag trophies were in this office before I came, and it excites me because, the program had kind of went quiet for just a period of time. I think over 10 years, they had not made it to the championship. And when the group I was with came in under Barry Doyle, we changed it. But I don't want the narrative to be changed until we set the standard. The standard was already set. So what excites me the most,
was already set.
It was already set. So honestly, what excites me the most is to continue building athletes. They can be disciplined. They can be, happy within the game. They can be comfortable within themselves, but also helping them from a standpoint that I am a little bit, closer in their age group, bringing that understanding to them as well, to allow them to grow into better people, because this isn't just bowling. We in college, during college. Yeah. So you're trying to also grow them into the next generation. So
exactly,
that's what excites me the most.
Yeah, I love that so much. And man, if I were a coach, right? If I were a coach, and all the coaches I've talked to, I think a lot of us are saying the same things, that it's not just what's going on the lanes, it's what's happening off the lanes. As they matriculate, as they're growing, you're a part of that journey, and you have a huge role in helping shape them right into young women. They're matriculating into these young women and then graduating and then making sure that they're prepared and they're ready for graduation after graduation. So I love that so much. And so I had some questions, right? But I'm all about like letting it flow. But you already touched on something that was like kind of further down. So I want to touch on it. You were talking about kind of your age and how you're close with them in age. So my question is, do you think that younger coaches, right, yourself, can connect differently with the athletes? And I know for me, like I said, I'm not a coach, but I got a management position right out of college. So very similar situation. Some of my student staff were older than me or the same age as me. And so it was different, right? Like I was mature, but it was a different level of energy and communication and all these things that I had to bring to the table to let them know I'm serious. This is my job. This is what you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so kind of talk to us about that. And I was able to connect with them in a different way, I feel like, as well. But kind of talk to us about that for you and kind of your vision or maybe your philosophy on what that looks like.
I would say with the fact that I am a little bit closer in age, we'll cut that out. The standard, we're gonna focus on setting the standard every day. Simple things. Showing up on time. We'll have, guidelines. That way we are all on track. If I'm showing up on time, they're showing up on time. It's more so leading by example. And that's kind of how what got me here in a way to do better. I want to just make more so I would say just push them. I think that with me being a little bit closer in age, there are some things that I won't say that the older generation don't understand, but I would say that there are some things that kind of get brushed under the rug. And
Mhm.
as somebody who has a background in mental and behavioral health from my undergraduate degree, I understand the effects that they can have on players, specifically student athletes. It can be anybody, just a regular student, person, any age. It really doesn't matter. But
Mhm.
for me, and this is just a vulnerable moment, I went through my own little battles when I was a student athlete. You may not know, you may not would have never known, but that is something that I want to help them with because it's not something that is going away. We have
Mhm.
students that deal with depression, they deal with anxiety, they deal with a lot of different things, but you have to know how to communicate with them. And I think that's gonna be my biggest thing I'm gonna stand on, the communication and just being disciplined as a whole. That way we're here together. We're going to work as a team. That way we can build this program for going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Mindset's everything. Mental health is so
Yeah.
important. It all ties together. And I know when I first went to college, I did not realize that. I honestly wish that this was touched on a little bit more in high school because, you look at athletes that have been doing their sport and have become
Yeah.
really great and elite at their sport and they burn out and they're like, I don't want to have anything to do with this in college. I just want to go to college and be regular. And I feel like if this was addressed a little bit sooner, that may not be the case. There's some amazing athletes that never took it to the next level. They may have wanted to, their passion was there, but it wasn't enough for them to keep going. So I love that we're talking about this. So, what pressures do you feel that student athletes are facing today? It's different from because I graduated in 2014, so that's 12 years ago. So it's a little bit it's different now. You know what I mean? Just everything is different. So what do you feel? Yeah, are some of those pressure points for the student athletes?
I would say currently some of the pressure points for student athletes would be, I'm not lying when I say this, a big one is their mental health.
Mm,
Not having that support or
mm,
and not necessarily saying they don't have support, but they're not knowing how to reach out. They don't want to be a burden on others when they already have so much those things on their plate. As a student
yes.
athlete, they're practicing 4 times a week at minimum. They're working out 2 to 3 times a week. These are
Mhm.
hours on hours and hours. That's not even on top of their classes. So, and that's the biggest thing we want to push. You're a student first,
Yep.
then you're an athlete.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
but I think that's one of the biggest burdens. It has to be the mental side of it, and
Yeah.
also just with this new day and age, you have NIL that can also create pressures because people may link their talents or their what they're producing on the lane, on the court, on the field, wherever it may be, to their, I hate to say to their value of the money, but that's kind of what it's coming to in a way as
Yep.
well, and that can also play onto your health.
Absolutely.
So I would just say that's kind of just a pressure point. We have to know how to be here for our athletes better. We're wanting them to play for our programs and to expand our programs, but we have to help them in return. They're
Yes.
giving us 4 years of their life, some of them 5 to 6.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that's one of the biggest pressure points, just being able to communicate with the athletes and
Mm.
understanding them.
Yeah, I love that. So to add to that, how do you feel, or what are some other ways you feel? And y'all, this was her major, so like I really want us to hone into this because she's an expert, right? Like this is what she studied. How do you, or what are some different ways that you feel coaches can kind of create an environment where athletes feel comfortable asking for help or sometimes athletes may not even know that, right? Like sometimes you're like from the outside looking in, people can see things, but where maybe they can reach out and be like, hey, you know, kind of have that conversation if they see something is going on.
So, are you asking from a standpoint of a coach, like how to?
Yeah, from a coach's perspective, like how, you know, how can coaches, right, like kind of create that environment where
Where
athletes
they
feel
feel comfortable?
comfortable
Okay,
coming forward? But on the flip side of that, if the athlete does not come forward,
right.
them actually paying attention to notice that, okay, my player's off, something's going on here, and not just focusing on winning, 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 but you have to address those things because it affects everything.
Yes,
So yeah, so I would say from kind of maybe both of those perspectives, but from the coach's view.
I would definitely say it would be more so in creating personal relationships, not necessarily let's say going out and hanging out on the weekends or something with your players. Not in that way. I'm more so talking about when you're recruiting. I think it's important to have those types of conversations, not only with the player, but also with the with the player's parent slash guardian, whoever it may be, just to
Yeah.
see their understanding of what, you know, the student athletes coming here for 4 years. So what we getting ourselves, what's happening, what's the background? That's all you really want to know. You need to know that. Sometimes people don't ask questions. They're more so worried about average, where you plays, how many times you've done this and that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then they miss the part where the background information could have came in. You could have helped going forward. You could have set that standard going forward. Like, okay, you may have a little bit of anxiety here, and you may shut
Mhm.
down here in these
Yeah.
types of situations. But over the course of this season, we're gonna work on that. Like, it
Yeah.
needs to be an open communication that you want to help them, and not just a judgmental standpoint of,
Yes.
like, if that makes, I don't know how to put it in words, but
Yeah.
you want to, in a way, do unto others as you've done unto you. So if you wouldn't want nobody talking to you like that when you're having a breakdown, why would you come
Hmm.
at them like that? Especially in high pressure situations.
Oh yeah.
It's, yeah. So
Yeah.
I
No,
would
that
definitely
makes
say that.
sense.
Now, of course, you want to be stern as a coach. You want to make sure they're getting the point. But this is the part where before the season starts, before we get into the season, before we get into traveling, and we're gone 4 days out of the week with each other multiple times out of the year, you need to know this information. So I think it's more so about creating those personal relationships in the recruiting process.
Mm. No, that makes sense. And you know something, I don't know if this is a thing. Would what about talking to if they bowled high school, maybe their previous high school coach, or maybe
Mm-hmm.
the youth director of coaches at Sally Sue Bowling Alley, whatever, that may have, you know, been coaching them. Maybe that too. I don't know. And I don't even know if that's allowed. But as you were talking, I'm like, when you're talking about those personal relationships, I think about who's been kind of grooming them as a
Yeah.
youth bowler. So maybe that may be someone else too.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
definitely another key person as well. Like, especially if they're getting like private lessons. A lot,
Mhm.
some students will do that, and that coach will know them better. Like, if they're being a little bit hard on them, they can sense when their behavior, their mood or demeanor changes. If they said something a certain way. Now, of
Yeah.
course, within that, you want your athletes to have a little tough skin on the outside.
Yep.
So if I'm just saying, okay, we need to give a little more, don't baby it. I'm not calling you weak. I'm not calling you
I
weak,
get
okay?
that.
I'm just saying, throw that thing. So that's
Yeah.
just kind of a way to put it, I guess. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Okay, so still kind of talking about mental health.
Yeah.
I want to talk about it from a player's perspective, right? Because our audience is kind of mixed. We have parents and coaches and athletes. So, what role do you feel teammates can play in supporting one another? And kind of just to add on to that, the legacy, right, that you will continue with the Lady Jaguar team, how do you plan on kind of creating that culture, you know, for your team, for your girls, for your athletes, not girls, for your athletes rather?
I actually had a good answer for this one, I think. Because that's one, hold on.
because peer to peer, right, is so it's everything. I mean, the coach, yes, but at the same time, on the battlefield, the athletes there with one another on that, it's just different, right? It's a little bit different. So
Yeah.
I'm curious, like, what your response would be to that, as well as I'm sure, like, the athletes that are watching, this may help them as they're, becoming a better team player and all of that as well.
I would definitely say that it's important as teammates to talk to each other and to get to
Mm,
know who you following behind in that lineup. because certain chemistries may not always go together
yeah,
back to back. However, I would say that some people, we thrive on team bonding and stuff. However, I'll be a strong believer in this. You don't have to be best friends, but you need to know how to come together so we can whoop who was against us. Okay. And that's just me being real, y'all. I'm sorry. But anyways,
hey, I love that. We'll take the
I just
real. We'll take the real.
like we don't have to be best friends. I just feel that as athletes, you need to know when to come together. We're still in a match. We're still here. At the end of the day, we still got to come back here tomorrow. So we got to figure something out. I would just definitely say though, as athletes who also compete with each other in
Yeah,
practice, they may share rooms together with the dorms and stuff.
yeah,
Some of them may be best friends, some of them may not be, but I do think it is important to have like those check-ins, whether it's weekly, monthly, whatever the case may be, with each other. Um, and not just like providing team bonds where it's like just something just fun, but it's something that actually makes people interact with each other so you can get to know, who you're bowling with or who
for
you're competing
sure.
with. Even though you
Hmm.
can't change it, you would still need to know like, okay, such and such may not like when I do this, or such and such when they're feeling like this, they may just need somebody to come make them laugh.
Hmm.
You need people like that can understand where you need to be picked up at, and how. Something that may work for me, sometimes you got to tell me snap out of it. I
Yeah,
don't like all the baby talk. Get to the point.
yeah.
But for somebody else, it may make them cry.
Hmm.
So you
Yeah,
have to. I think that's also comes with along with the season, different types of bondings where the teams can connect in a way where they
absolutely.
understand each other. Because, like I said, at the end of the day, whether y'all arguing or not, whether you think that they threw the ball like this and you threw the ball like that,
Yeah,
either way it go, we still gotta go pick up the tip in so we can win the
absolutely.
match.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
that's it. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, no, that makes sense. So hopefully y'all are taking notes on that bonding, right? And even if the coach at the beginning of the season, does one bonding, you guys take the initiative on your own and do your own bonding. So you guys, right? The coach shouldn't have to tell you to get
right.
together. Y'all should be able to do that on your own, So just to kind of add on to what you're saying. So I love that. I
Yes.
hope y'all are taking notes. So I want to shift gears a little bit. I hope you guys got some value out of that. I know I did. It's good reminders and refreshers, but I also learned some new things. So I appreciate you just kind of sharing all that because mental game gets looked over so much, and people are like, "Well, just suck it up," and it's like, no, like that is not sustainable long term. Like you have to address it. So I appreciate, and I'm sure everybody else that's watching this appreciates that as well. So I want to shift gears a little bit. I want to get your thoughts on just college bowling as a whole. Where do you think college bowling is kind of headed over the next 5 years? And I tell people this, and I sincerely mean it. I think collegiate bowling is thriving. Men's side, women's side, you got NAIA, USBC, and NCAA. You see schools that are looking for Title IX opportunities, and bowling is one of those sports that are starting to get picked up. That's my piece. I'm gonna be quiet because the question was for you and not for me. But yeah, where do you think college
I
bowling
love
is
it.
headed over the next 5 years?
I definitely think that college bowling, I believe that the rate right now is headed in a good direction. Um, as long as there are tournaments for our bowlers to get into.
Yeah.
And I really do like that there are different states that host, regional tournaments for youth bowlers on sport shot patterns, on different things. Those things they really prepare our athletes for college bowling. I think that as long as we keep them in it while they're young,
Yep.
that's how it is. I mean, I grew up from it from the age of 5. And
Same.
while I've heard
Mhm.
people say, "Oh, bowling's dying," well, I mean, they didn't. College bowling wasn't as big as it was back then.
Exactly.
But now, so I think it still starts when they're young. If you can keep them going while they're young, they get into college. Maybe even after college, they go into the league. They go into the pros, PBA, PWBA, all of that.
Mhm.
Um, I I think it starts as youth though. But as for right now, at this rate, I think that college bowling is going in a really good direction. Different conferences are joining. Like I think conference. I won't speak on that, but anyways, yeah, it's there are more teams that are being added for sure. Into the NCAA because you have NAIA as well. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah,
love that. Yeah, I agree. I agree. And literally, like that is like kind of a standard question. I may not ask it the same every time that I ask because I want to hear everybody's opinion. Everybody probably gets sick of hearing me talk about it over and over again. But I'm just like, hear from somebody else other than me. You hear from, the people that are out there doing the things. They're actually in it, right? So I
yeah.
appreciate that. So just to kind of add on to that, and then I want to shift gears again. How do you feel that we can kind of encourage more youth bowlers to bowl collegiately? I know that's a loaded question, but maybe like one or two, thoughts that you may have around that.
This is a perfect example. This right here, College Bowling Network. We need more access to the sport, and we need more coverage, media coverage. Compared to some of the other, NCAA sports, we don't get as much coverage. Of course, you have to have like Bowl TV, or you have to go to the match in person. Or if you're lucky, they may have a Facebook Live, but then it may buffer, and then yep, we miss half the match. So I definitely think this right here, College Bowling Network, is definitely something that's going to improve with our youth getting into bowling or college bowling because they'll see what it's like if they're not able to make it to those terms, or may encourage them to want to find different terms to go just watch and see and spectate. Many times if they're not able to see it, especially with social media being as big as it is now,
Oh
if
my
they're not able
God.
to see
Oh,
it,
yes. It's
they
everything.
won't know. So I
Very
think
true.
that's the main thing, having the access and the coverage with the media. So this is great. Perfect.
Ooh, um, I'm not gonna say anything to that because y'all know me and you know what I'm about, so I don't have to spit. This is Jalen's time. This is Coach Jay's time. It's
No,
not my turn.
no, please.
Oh my God, I could talk about that all day, but I mean that everything you just said is like so why we exist. And youth bowling plays a huge role into the success of collegiate bowling. And even though like we focus on collegiate bowling, like youth is a big part of that. So that is our mission. We're fighting the bigger fight, and we are out there literally talking with the bigger networks and doing all the things to get you guys more coverage because I'm like, who's gonna do it? I'm like, we're gonna do it. So that's what I've been working on. So I appreciate everybody's support just through the journey. And I mean, we're here and big shoes to fill, and they will get filled.
Yeah,
They
you're
will
doing
get
it.
filled. So it's gonna happen. So I appreciate that. All right. So we're gonna move on to kind of advice for younger bowlers because they may have a lot of questions. So I'll just ask a couple, maybe like two or three. So if a high school bowler is watching this episode right now, you guys are bowling in high school, whether you're in high school, you're looking to pursue college, and maybe you're bowling league and travel league and junior gold and doing the things, and you are dreaming of competing at the collegiate level one day, what advice would you give them, Coach Jay?
Develop a good attitude.
Ooh,
Develop a good attitude where you can persevere through the good and the bad.
ooh,
Somebody should not be able to tell if you just shot a 250 or a 50. So I would definitely say that because college coaches look at that. Now, some, of course, they'll take that chance, but I would say to help your chances better, just try to develop a good attitude ahead of time, and also a spare system.
mm.
Spares. When I say spares, preferably with a plastic ball, unless you can really break your wrist. But spares. That's two of the biggest things college bowling is different with. You cannot show too much of that in your attitude. You have to remain composed, and also spares win games. There have
Yes,
been
they
many
do.
times
Yes, they
Many
do.
times,
Woo.
win or loss.
Yeah, yeah. I agree. College built like, yeah. I think I had an episode on that. I agree with you 1,000%. You guys heard it from somebody that's done it other than me. That's bold in college. She's been coaching. Like she's telling y'all the truth because it's the truth. It is not a strikeathon in college bowling. It is not. So if you're thinking that, it's just not. If you are an athlete that hasn't really been bowling on those challenging conditions, go out there and try to get on some have your local bowling center throw a shot down for you. It matters, for you to get that practice. So I think that's good. All right. What is one lesson that you've carried from being a student athlete to becoming a coach? One lesson, just one.
We. Okay, wait. Yeah, you want to cut that. Okay. Oh, I gotta pick a real good one, a really good one, because I learned a lot of lessons. When I came in as a freshman and when I left, I was two different people. Okay.
I can't act. So another question I have was like, what is one thing you wish you knew as a freshman? So though they kind of they don't go together, but they're similar. So if that would help you to kind of narrow down your one lesson.
A lesson. I would. I would say that the biggest lesson I learned from my freshman year to leaving and graduating, don't don't lose sight of the main thing. Okay. That can be a very open topic, but do not lose sight of the main thing, because when I came in college, I didn't even know about the SWAC championship and first team and things. But
Mm.
once I set my eyes on it and once I found out about it, there were some things that could have happened to where I could have messed up my own opportunities because of, like I say, not learning how to be composed at times. However, I will say that not losing sight of the main thing has helped me get here.
Mm. Mm.
And it came quicker than I thought.
Mm.
The goal was to coach, but did I think it was going to be this soon? Nope.
Okay. That's good.
So I'm just saying, don't lose sight of the main thing. Whatever you come in with, leave with it. Don't, if you plan to
That's good.
graduate with whatever, graduate with that. If you plan to win a championship, make it your best effort to try to win a championship, whether it's
Mm.
helping yourself, helping your teammates, doing whatever it is. If you want to become a better leader, ask your coach questions on how, what's the word? To challenge you to be that.
Mm.
You're
Mm-hmm.
not gonna
Mm-hmm.
elevate yourself if you don't go through challenges. So I would definitely say that
Absolutely.
I've been through some challenges, but I did not lose sight of the main thing.
Don't lose sight of it. Y'all heard it. I hope you're taking notes. Don't lose sight of the main thing. And to be honest with you, Coach Jay, that is something as adults, I think that was a really great reminder for some adults that are watching this because it can apply in anybody's life right now. So that's a reminder really for everybody. So that's so good. Okay. Next question on this, and then we'll kind of close it out. Oh, I have one more question, like one more. All right. So let me take that back. How should athletes define success beyond wins and losses? You said a few things kind of around this topic, but I just wanted to focus just on this. How should athletes define success, or how do you feel, right, that they can define success beyond wins and losses?
Make yourself proud.
Make yourself proud.
Make yourself proud, because at the end of the day, people may expect certain things out of you, but if you know you did everything you could in your heart or in your willpower, in your determinant, all of that. If you did everything you know you could have, just make yourself proud. You're not gonna please everybody.
Make yourself proud. You know what that makes me think of? When I wake up every day, and I developed this kind of honestly as an adult. I think I had a kind of a different mindset when I was like a student athlete, but I wake up and do my best to be 1% better every day. And as
Yeah.
long as I feel like I did 1% better, that's a check mark for me. I'm like, I did that. So when you say that, it reminds me of that 'cause that's what I tell myself. So I love that so much.
I would definitely say something, and the reason I say that, especially with like mental health, because it can be so easy to consume yourself in results and in
Yeah.
all this stuff. But it was like almost like an awakening moment. Somebody had to pinch me almost, that even though I did not accomplish what I set my mind on, and in
Mhm.
college, my mind was set on winning Player of the Year, and my mind was set on winning a swag championship title. Now, did I do that? No. But what I did do, and I made myself proud while doing it, because like I said, when I came to college, I did not know all this stuff. I'm just being so
Mhm.
honest. Like, I've been bowling all my life, but I did not, like, the closest thing I had to HBCU was Jackson State.
Mm.
So, but I would say that I left college 4-time All Swag first team, um, MVP from my school, as well as 3 ESPN appearances and 3 regular season titles. I left more than what I left with, more than I thought I really
Yeah.
wanted.
Hmm.
So, and it helped the team, it helped the program.
Yeah.
So make yourself proud at the end of the day.
So proud. I love that. Okay. We're closing. We're gonna close it out here. Man, such good conversation. I appreciate it. All right. Last quick question. Why should any of our women student athletes out there be interested in coming to Southern? What makes you guys different?
Well, stepping into this program, I think that young ladies who are looking to pursue Southern, um, I want them to look for excellence, not just from the school. We have great nursing, engineering, business, and law programs.
Hmm.
However, I do want them to actually watch us. When you see us compete, I want you to recognize that we are prepared. We're not looking all scattered. I want us to
Hmm.
be composed. Yeah,
Yep.
we may get a little aggressive in the moment, like, yeah, we're going to get to that next frame and we're going to follow it up, okay?
Let's go.
And most importantly, our commitment to each other. Like I said, at the end of the day, we're a team. We working together against y'all. It's our commitment to each other. So I want them to look forward to that. If they are interested in Southern, um, it's a family affair. It's a family environment, good food, good music, great band, all of it. So,
Mhm.
and we have a lot of supporters as well. So,
That's awesome.
yeah.
Y'all heard it. Y'all heard it from her right here on CBN Unscripted. Thank you again, Coach Jay, for your time. Make sure that you guys like, share, and subscribe, and we will see you guys on the next episode.
Thank you.